Hey out there, welcome to the Screen Time Continuum. It is a wonderful Sunday. We are here, and by we, I mean myself, Keelan, and the fellas. What's going on, Nick? What's going on, Mike? How you feeling?
Hey, happy Sunday.
Happy Sunday.
Feeling magical.
Magical Sunday?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. That's a step up right there. I know for sure I have nothing to contend and or even contribute to a magical Sunday, but I'm glad to hear it, fellas. And we're here today to give you guys a review of a 2023 movie. So it's not too old, not too new. I don't think it's new enough to warrant a spoiler alert, but I know there was quite an anticipation amongst people I know at least to see this. So if you have not seen The Pope's Exorcist, came out in 2023. The release date was April 14th. Right now is your time to turn away. I won't even tell you who directed the movie. I won't tell you who distributed the movie. I won't tell you who the stars are. I will tell you it's rated R. And if you haven't seen it, go and see it. Come back, listen to this review. But for those of you who are past that here warning, or that there warning, here we go with the Pope's Exorcist review for the Screen Time Continuum. Pope's Exorcist came out in 2023. It is a rated R horror movie, and it is directed by Julius Avery, distributed by Sony Pictures, and it is based on An Exorcist Tells His Story and An Exorcist More Stories by Father Gabriele Amorth. That is who this movie is based on, Father Gabriele Amorth. The box office brought in 76.2 million, and the plot line goes as such. Father it's weird how the word father just is difficult for me to say right now.
Say padre.
Right? Padre Gabriele Amorth. Yeah, see, that actually came out smoother.
Yeah.
Is the chief exorcist for the Vatican. He battles Satan and innocent possessing demons. Or
What?
I guess, yeah, that doesn't. He battles Satan and
Yeah.
demons who are possessing the innocent, but
Oh, okay.
so you could tell that was a translation that they put into English for the plot line here on Google, and it just didn't. Somebody didn't realize that was messed up a little, grammatically incorrect. It also says, Father Gabriele Amorth, the chief exorcist of the Vatican, battles Satan and demons that possess the innocent. A detailed portrait of a priest who performed more than 100,000 exorcisms in his lifetime. So reading that now fully through, I realized that what they did is they took something from the book and they used it as the plot line for the movie on Google. I would say, based on learning that this is about a real person, some real events, and watching this film, I'm okay with that description right there. It to me, it's right, spot on. It's the account of someone's experiences, whether you believe in them or not.
Okay.
Yeah, that's it. Okay, got it. Cool.
Yeah.
This movie stars Russell Crowe, Laurel Marsden, uh, Alex Esso, and I'm only going to give you two more people. You know what? I can't find their names. I'm not giving them to you at all. So yeah, just know that Russell Crowe was in this movie, and that's the whole thing that made everybody like, "Oh, hey, Russell Crowe's gonna play the Pope's exorcist. Let's go see what that's all about." And
You know what?
yeah,
Russell Crowe looks a little different from the last time I seen him.
he looks a little older, maybe.
A little wider.
Well, yeah, he's not playing action stars or action heroes anymore. Now he's playing popes, people that are about his age in real life too.
Last time I seen him, he was
Well,
still in
not
the
popes, he's an
Coliseum
exorcist.
killing phoenixes.
Well, hey, that was that. I'm sure if that was the last time you seen him, then you definitely haven't watched any of his movies in like 20 years.
No. Did he put out any movies?
I don't know. I'm not.
No, he's been fighting around the world with his boat tugger.
But it's a little tugger.
Yeah.
Love South Park.
Hey, you never know. But yeah, so first impressions on this movie. I'm not sure actually where to even start with my first impression. So any guys, any of you fellas got first impressions locked and loaded already?
Well, my first impression was I love seeing a mother and her two kids by themselves battling evil spirits.
all the time.
Love it. It's my favoriteest thing ever.
It's definitely plot.
How
In
many
an
movies have we
inherited
reviewed with
haunted
that?
house.
Right.
Always.
Oh, I will get to this inherited haunted house. I can't talk about that yet because I got questions.
I know you do. To be fair though, I actually did. I really like this movie. I didn't find it to be particularly scary, but I don't find most of them to be scary. But it was very entertaining, and I thought some of the symbolism was a little interesting. Some of the storyline was interesting, and some of the implications were very interesting. We'll get
Yeah.
into all of that and more next time on Dragon Ball Z.
On Dragon
Yeah,
Good.
Nick.
Ball.
Yeah.
Nick,
Well, considering that while watching this movie, I spiked a fever and then became sick for the last week, I would say that it worked.
I have questions.
Yeah. No, this movie was fun. It was good. I liked it. It was a fun ride. I like Russell Crowe. I like Exorcist style movies. It was enjoyable. Hit on some of the same tropes that we always see, as Mike had
Mhm.
mentioned just a minute ago. But it was entertaining. I don't know if there's anything really memorable about the cinematography. I think the sound design was pretty decent. But yeah, a good, serviceable, scary movie. That's for sure.
Excellent.
that's a
Mhm.
fair review. Yeah, I did not dislike this movie either. Don't know how much I loved it, but I did watch it twice, in fact. So I liked it quite a bit. Russell Crowe did his thing. It was Russell Crowe, so captivated. The accents and the body language of the acting, things like that.
Ayla,
Something.
hold on. Sorry, just a sec. Ayla has an addition. We are also watching it during an earthquake or hurricane and earthquake that same
The
day.
hurricane.
The hurricane. Yes.
Don't forget the hurricane it happened.
Right.
But yeah, I had a few questions off bat about this movie. One of my very first questions was, is Catholicism the same in Italian and in Spanish? And I easily know. Not quite sure how that will correlate with anything in this movie, but something that I gathered from this movie that I really, in a sense, appreciated was that understanding of maybe, we have this thought or these concepts that religious things change across the board when you go from place to place. But if the understanding and the faith is the same, then you can assist each other at least in getting a salvation of some sort. That's a piece of something I got out of this movie. Along with that, I to the cinematic portions of it all, the camera angles as far as them doing a lot of the flipping upside down, seeing the words and things etched into Henry's body. I appreciated a lot of that in this movie. At the exact same time, I wasn't quite sure. I wasn't sure how this was going to end at first, and then it did, and I had to sit with that for a minute. So anytime you got to sit with the ending, you're gonna have a lot to talk about, or at least some questions. So I'll stop there because from that point it's gonna be some questions.
If you think about it, it really is the sequel to Gladiator.
Yeah, it
He's
feels like it.
He's still working for Rome.
Right.
He's a Spaniard. I mean, yeah.
Well, like I said, the last time I seen him,
No argument there.
right,
He just
Well,
didn't
this is
die.
the back end of his job. After
he didn't die, turned into a priest.
After he beat ass, he saved souls.
There you go.
He gonna send you to hell, and then he gonna save your soul from the pits of hell. You did terrible things as a human being. I must eviscerate you as a human, and then save your soul.
Slay your body, save your soul.
That's right. But yeah, overall though, something else to mention at the top of this, knowing and finding out, like they even let you know from the beginning with one of his quotes from his book, that Father Amorth is a real person, that he truly and devoutly had faith to the level of which people thought he was crazy. That not only, in my opinion, makes for a good movie or good lore, but a good example of someone that you may want to use when you're trying to get people to follow a certain belief, no matter what it may be. You find people who are as devout as a Father Amorth as your, I guess, your bar.
Who's wholly human, but wholly within the faith.
Yeah, I mean, I figure in every faith, no matter what it is, that you look for someone like him. Like even the Pope kind of admired him in this movie.
Yeah, I kind of got that impression too.
Yeah, and that's something I'm sure that in any belief system you want to live up to. Like he's a living legend, you know. And hey, in reality, he only passed away 10 years ago, less than 10 years ago.
Was it 2016
16
or was it 13?
Yeah, so 16. So yeah, less than that. With that, let's get into the weeds of this here movie. So again, Father Amorth, he's a real man, he's a real priest, he's a real lawyer, an exorcist, a journalist. He has all the qualifications, classifications of father, right? And he is appointed by the Pope to be the exorcist for the Vatican City. And what that typically means is there is no jurisdiction that he listens to or pays any mind to. If evil is presumed to be there, he goes and eradicates it. He is the Terminator for tortured souls. I don't know how I'm gonna set the road with that right now, but that's what it is. And this film, you know, again, it begins with a quote from Father Amorth, which I do think sets the tempo for this movie. When we jeer at the devil and tell ourselves that he does not exist, that is when he is the happiest. From there, we go straight to June of 1987. In Italy, we see Father Amorth, you know, coax a demon out of a person straight into a pig, kills the pig in a slaughter. And he goes, later we'll see him say that was not exorcism. It was more of theater. And I kind of understand what he's getting at. There are things that you can convince yourself of, and then there are things that you have no control over. He literally guided and instructed that entire situation, even if there was some level of demonic or magical being out there.
Supernatural.
Yeah, supernatural, thank you. I don't think that supernatural being had the ability or the power to do anything other than what he was coaxing it to do.
I think you were probably right that people can convince themselves into believing in something that's not real. Although he uses the coin to sort of test whether there's a demon in the people, and the first guy followed the coin just like the kid did.
Yeah.
So,
but they follow it, and that was my thing is I think that's the level. It's not so much that there was nothing in him, it's that it wasn't something strong enough to really identify. It's like it's like having allergies versus having actual head cold.
It was the low tier demon, and then a mid tier, and then an upper tier.
Right. Yeah. I also think my example was bad because allergies can totally knock somebody the fuck out. But
yes, they can.
But yeah. So we see him basically help someone get rid of a demon. And then from there, he literally just goes straight to the Vatican. And the Vatican, we find out he ain't really the most liked person at the Vatican because he do what the hell he want to do.
Well, like any system of government, there's always people who are trying to amass power.
Right.
And they're there for the wrong reasons.
In their way.
Right.
And that's because
just like Gladiator. He was Caesar's favorite.
Yes, he was.
That's right. just like in this movie.
Yep.
Oh
the Pope's
wow.
favorite. It's
Wasn't he
literally
also called the
Gladiator.
most prideful in the Gladiator?
A supernatural gladiator too.
Yeah, pretty much.
Damn it.
But I think in a Gladiator, he was also accused of being super prideful as well, though. That's the crazy part. Like
Yep.
you're spot on with this.
Well, because Caesar thought he was like a son, or he was the son that he really wanted.
Right.
Oh man.
Hey,
I
look,
think y'all just
that's
messed
something
this
to
movie
review.
up for me.
Oh, messed it up. Jeez.
But not in a bad way, because I still like it. I like Gladiator.
Right. Right.
Damn.
But so he gets called in front of the Vatican board, and we see that the youngest member of the board seems to be the one that's in charge, and everybody is kind of listening to and looking up to change the ways of how the Vatican is seen by the world, which to me is a red flag. But we'll get to those red flags later.
Right.
Uh,
Clear
But then
red
essentially they're
flags.
trying to tell him that the evil that he's dealt with is in his imagination and that evil doesn't exist, which is interesting also because I want to say either we covered a movie recently or we covered something recently that touched on that as well. With people, you get to a point where the new generation doesn't believe because it hasn't happened in so long. And the irony on that is this weekend, I literally saw all three of the Mummy movies come on TV. And there was something else I had saw, and it was describing some, basically the same type of ordeal, just the way power structures have been passed down throughout time. I'm trying to figure out where to go with that next because that was a cool statement, but I'm not sure how to tie it back into it. But
Neato.
In that structure though, so you basically get Father Amorth explaining to his friend in the board that his faith doesn't need any defense. His boss is the Pope. He is there to eradicate evil, and if you don't believe or you don't trust or know what he got going on, you need to go talk to the Pope because he's not about to sit here and keep dealing with these you so important people that I never could get a hold of before, but now I deserve your time. Like, get away from me.
Oh,
yeah. He doesn't have any time for a Commodus.
Right. I think the movie you were thinking about might have been The Devil's Contract that we did, where Satan
The
was
Devil Conspiracy.
There you go. Whatever.
I don't even remember.
I think that's the one you were thinking about. Talking about the old system of things being passed down and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh, that was a bad movie.
Was that the one with when like the angels?
Yeah.
Like Michael and Gabriel and shit.
Yeah. That's the one.
I only remember that the guy who played the angel looked like the guy from Stargate or one of those other movies.
Stargate.
I don't know. He looked like Dr. Manhattan.
That's the dude from
Oh, I know he's from a bunch of other movies. I'm simply stating that he looked like Dr. Manhattan.
You ruined that movie too, so let's not even talk about that.
I ruin a lot of movies, apparently. You're welcome.
I didn't need to see that. I was perfectly ignorant until you pointed it out. Didn't even see it.
So
now I can't watch it again.
Let's not talk about it. How about that? So he says his faith does not require defense, and he basically has his sit down with the board, and he storms out because he's tired of taking their shit, and he got things to do. He got to go talk to the Pope, who's his boy. They partners. They sit, they toss back beers, take a shot here and there, say shit once in a while, and that absolves, and then they're absolved once they confess to one another. Right. But then the Pope basically sends him on a mission, and that's when he meets Julia, Amy, and Henry, who Henry is already possessed. And that's really where things really start to get good, start to get juicy. We find out that the demon that's inside Henry is stronger than the other demons that we've dealt with in the past or that we've seen in this movie already.
Well, let's back up just a second because there's a little bit of trauma we got to talk about with the family. The husband passed away a year previous to the start of the movie. The little boy doesn't speak because he was in the car that his father died in, which was a car accident, and he saw his father impaled.
Right.
So he doesn't speak. Now, because of these tragedies, the father does have property in Spain, which is this house that they're moving into, just to give it a little context and there's understanding on what happened and
Right.
leading
Now,
up to where we are now.
It's a giant ass cathedral. It's not a house.
It's the Abbey.
A whole ass church. The hell?
It's definitely a church or a convent.
Yeah.
Who
I
just
mean-
owns that?
Well, here that's okay. So that's literally what my question is, Nick.
Yeah.
And I'm glad you went back to that, Mike, because I actually skipped over it on accident.
Mhm.
Whose family owns an entire monastery and you don't know nothing about it till after your husband passed away? And this place is haunted, decrepit, and clearly they didn't want nobody there. Who is your husband? And since I've already said that Henry is possessed already by the demon, why did he specifically choose y'all kid after his dad's family owns this place that this demon has been trapped?
Sins of the father, bloodline curse. That's the
Man.
only thing I could think of for that one.
Yeah, but that didn't come up in the movie. That's something that kind of bothered me. I wish that was a topic.
Well, that might have been getting too deep in the weeds.
Maybe. I mean, it says your sins will come for you.
Well, wasn't it like during the Spanish Inquisition, the flashbacks?
Yes. Well, that's the history of the main history of the story, because the Spanish Inquisition was where all this stuff with the abbey and the location took place. Plus, it's a reference to the kind of the change in policy towards heretics in the church.
Right.
Because that's the bloodiest period in the Catholic Church's history, or one of.
Well, maybe the father had some ancestry from some of these older papal members.
Hey, when Henry's old enough, he can do a 23andMe.
Yeah.
Just saying.
Mm-hmm.
Find out that they're descendants of the mother, the Holy Mother.
Who would that be?
Well, they say that's Mary.
Oh, I don't know. I ain't no Catholic.
Oh, well, theology scholar and shucks.
Yeah, but I don't follow. Never mind.
I'm just being
I almost said the wrong thing.
Hey, man. I'm just being funny over here. As long as we chuckling, then it's okay.
Ayla says it might be a descendant. He might be a descendant of that Phoenix dude. You mean Commodus from Gladiator, played by Joaquin Phoenix?
Right.
Well,
maybe.
You mean the Joker?
Died a year ago. Yeah. Oh, something I thought was interesting is when he's in front of the board, they offered him espresso, and he's like, "What? This time of morning? Like, y'all crazy?" But he orders a double espresso. Wait, what did he order? Yeah, they ordered him a latte. He ordered a double espresso, and then they offered him sugar for his espresso, and he goes, "Sugar is the work of the devil." And I think that was also a nod to just how deep it went for this particular guy. Like that.
He's also Italian, so putting sugar in espresso is not.
I mean, I agree.
They don't do that.
I definitely think that sugar is evil. It's the most widely consumed poison in the world.
That's a fair point.
But it's so good, though.
Exactly.
It is, but
hey, you never attract flies with poop with
I'm about to say on the contrary, my friend.
Right.
You know what flies you talk about?
You got me.
So they get to the house, and like Mike said, everything is all in disarray because this family has gone through trauma. They've been forced to move into this abbey, and now the boy, the youngest kid, who's been playing mute for a year now, is possessed by a demon. And the request for a priest goes out. Not just any priest. He wants the particular priest that he's asking for. And it just so happens that the second priest they bring him is Father Amorth, who is the priest he's looking for. Um, I also want to
The
note,
priest.
even though she's not really important in this movie, Amy is a stubborn little bitch of a kid, and I'm kind of tired of it. I'm so
It's
tired of
that
it.
it's that
Yeah.
teenage rebellious girl trope that we are absolutely sick of.
Especially when it's ridiculous and it's unnecessary. Like
Right.
Very
You know your
unnecessary.
family is going through a traumatic time and you just gotta be rebelling and smoking cigarettes when you 12 or 8 or whatever she
well,
is.
and there's silly rebellious moments. Like her
Right.
mom telling her you can't dress like that, and she's like, "Why?" Because there's construction workers. Like, okay, at least she gave her a reason, no matter if you like the reason or not. But how about because your mother said you can't dress like that anymore?
Right.
Yeah. But dad died, so she can be as unreasonable as she wants.
I mean, how? I've never
Every
understood how
movie's
that
like
makes
that.
sense in
Every
movies.
movie's like as soon
You know
as
they are.
one of the parents dies, the kids become really awful,
Right.
and
Because you
nobody
can't give
ever
kids 5
slaps
across
them.
the eyes.
Right.
There you go.
That's a fair point.
Mm-hmm.
Because I know my mama would have gave me 5 across the eyes.
Like, guess who it is? It's saying guess who?
Mhm. Who it is? Smack.
Oh yeah.
That's who.
Also, yeah. Did we say she was smoking cigarettes and sitting on?
I
It was.
mentioned
It was
I
absolutely
mentioned it
weird.
briefly.
Okay,
Yeah.
it was absolutely weird to me, the dynamic of Amy just being this ultra rebellious teen for no reason, and us getting no background on like, hey, is she even in school? Like, how does she? Is
It
she mad
doesn't
because she
even
misses her
serve the plot.
friends, or huh?
It doesn't even serve the plot that she's rebellious.
It doesn't, not at all.
Like it's no
Mm-mm.
point to it. It's not like it adds or takes away from the story. It's just it happens
Right, right.
on multiple occasions that, because of reasons.
Because the reasons,
Because to her
Man.
dad died, you guys. Come on.
you know, we get it.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's so you mistreat your mom and your brother. Well, maybe not
Duh.
so much the
We get
brother,
it.
but
Everybody,
everybody can get these emotional hands.
Mm-hmm.
right? Because it's
That makes
terrible. So, but yeah, so after everything is really getting going and Father Morth comes and he meets the demon and he coaxes it and basically figures out like, okay, this thing's kind of strong. It knows things it shouldn't. It knows things it should not know. So I know that I got my hands full here. This is the
Yeah.
2%, as he explained to the panel. 98% of his cases get sent to doctors and psychiatrists, and the other 2% is what we call evil.
Yeah.
Right.
And he absolutely couldn't have a competent sidekick, huh?
No, not at all. Because
Jeez.
Superman works alone.
No, didn't you
Batman
know he
needs
was a
sidekick.
panty sniffer?
Which one?
The sidekick.
Oh, right. Yes.
He's a panty sniffer.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't. What's so weird about when the demon said that? How is he a panty sniffer if it was his girlfriend?
Because it
He's
makes
not
for
supposed to have
funner
any.
language.
He's not supposed to have any sexual desires at all.
Granted, that part I got. I totally understood how that was messed up. But it was like the demon tried to make it seem like the only thing. No, I guess that is a sin because he led her on. But yeah, tried to make it seem like it was something more than, you know what I mean?
Mm.
Well, the main sins was the deception and the lust that he had in his own heart.
But he would have married her. Nah, he wouldn't, because he wasn't going to leave the clergy.
Well,
Still.
Catholic priests aren't allowed to get married, which is not
Right.
even biblical, but that's a different conversation.
Well, that's what I'm saying. He wasn't gonna. He would have had to leave the clergy to do it, and he wasn't gonna do that. So that's where he was wrong, and that's where it was false, or
Right. That's why I said the deception and the lust.
There you go, lust.
He couldn't even stick to his prayer.
Man, listen, he couldn't even stick to Spanish.
He was honestly.
Latin.
Why wouldn't Amort have called somebody more experienced? I guess he quote unquote didn't have time, although the whole last movie happens while this kid is still possessed.
I think this was one of those things that the Pope wanted to keep under wraps, so he had to use what was at his disposal already. Like Father Amorth really comes off like a MacGyver exorcist more so than a Jason Bourne type.
Yeah, but if it's a matter of life and death, and it is, don't you think that you should have somebody who's maybe done this before with you?
Yeah, somebody who actually, studies.
Right. Who isn't going to get flustered by the demon the moment he goes in there?
Right. Who's not going to try to choke a 7-year-old child?
It's like Exorcism 101. You're not supposed to get flustered by the demon. You're just supposed to keep praying. He says
Right.
that to him explicitly.
I,
And
Yeah,
then
but
he
the
gets
demon,
frustrated.
the demon gave him illusions of naked women's.
Oh
Yeah.
no, how terrible.
It
I
made him break.
mean,
It
I ain't
broke him.
gonna lie. I
He
like to
couldn't
see
handle
naked
it.
women's.
I
So
mean,
I
he
would
does
probably get
too, so
distracted
why is
too.
he so upset?
I mean,
I
he
don't
could
know.
have kept praying and been looking at the
He
movie.
could have kept praying. Definitely.
Agreed.
What's your faith like is the question. And that for a priest, his faith is pretty weak.
Yeah.
Dang.
That's why you're just supposed to ignore it. Because it's
Yeah.
going to mess with you anyways. So,
Yeah. It's like that hot girl at the gym when you trying to work out and do your workout and she like squatting and bending over and squatting and bending over, but she ain't lifted no weights yet. That's not your business. That's not your business.
You know who Russell Crowe needed? He needed a Digimon Hansu character. Like in the movie Gladiator.
I was like, wait, why do I know that name?
He needed a
It's
trainer,
his best friend in Gladiator.
Right. Oh man. You called it.
Yep.
Gladiator Part 2.
That's crazy.
Oh man, Revenge of the Dead Caesar. That's who that is. He's exercising Caesar's ghost. Jeez.
Man. So let's think. As they go through, they're having this battle. Now they've geared up and they're battling it out with the demon. And the demon's just using like both of these priests, really their kryptonite, their sins, their hidden information, the thing that's used against them the most is the women from their past. With Father Morth, it's a young lady
Survivor's
who
guilt.
believe. Say it again. Yes, survivor's guilt. Father
He
Morth.
has, he had two things.
Right. Well, I think it's survivor's guilt on both sides. It's survivor's guilt from the guilt of we don't know if he was actually shot in the head or he just put blood on him.
No, he pretended.
Right.
That's why he called him a coward.
Right. So once that happens, that's one. And then the second time around is when he lets the girl basically kill herself because he doesn't believe that she is possessed. Now, what's interesting about the second one is I don't think he ever believed that she was possessed, but he realized that had he at least looked deeper into it, he could have got that girl some real help because she was being abused.
Yeah, he felt guilty for that.
Right. The guilt from that is what changed the way he was going about the exorcisms and spreading the information to the world and stuff. And again, a question of his pride. Like, for what made her case any different from any others? And that ate him up inside. That was something he couldn't let go of. And Tomas just being in love with a woman he couldn't be with. So the demon, continued to egg them on and poke them and say different things. Something I thought was very interesting is when he gets control of Amy by holding on to Amy at first, and then later on he just possessed Amy. But finding out how strong a demon is when he's able to get Amy over and they're sitting there and they're both talking. And at the same time, this is all happening after Father Amorth has found the well and gotten into the well, and they were attacked. My bad, I skipped over that too. Julia and Amy were attacked by the demons that were in their house. And because Father Amorth has uncovered this tomb, realizing that this is a Vatican hotspot. This is a place where the minions of hell have, the Hellmouth. The minions of hell have more dominion in this area than most. And if the seal is broken and left open too long, hell can come onto Earth. This is a gateway, so to speak.
That sounds like a plot to a different movie.
Yes,
this sounds like a prequel.
Was this Buffy?
Ooh, kinda.
The Buffy moment?
I was gonna say Evil Dead too.
Don't you dare.
There was Latin incantations. There was a
Oh
seal.
man. Yeah, but you said Hellmouth, and that's definitely a Buffy thing. Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
The TV show?
Yeah. Not the movie.
Not the animated series? No, I'm playing.
There's an animated one?
I'm being funny. I don't think so. You know what? Shit, it might be. Who knows? But
man, I hope not.
After he found the tomb and they're going through everything. Now, this is a little bit before they get the deeper information, but as they're walking around, they start gathering slowly more information. And their whole mission is to find out the name of this demon because that's the only way to really defeat it. But at the same time, Julia and Amy are being attacked. And I don't know. Father morphed to be an old fat guy. He real strong and agile and quick when it comes to getting these demons up off him.
Hey, he was a gladiator.
Yeah.
Some stuff don't go away.
Look, you can't mess with his slick. You know what I'm talking about? He ain't playing.
That's right. This was kind of like my favorite part of the movie too, to be fair, when they started uncovering the history of the location and what was going on, and it turned into what it turns into. I really liked that part, and that was the part I found the most interesting.
Right.
Because them finding the I guess tomb with the previous Pope's exorcist in it, caged himself into that area underneath the abbey.
Yeah.
Is it an abbey, or what do we call it? An abbey cathedral?
It's an abbey.
Okay. I found that to be the most interesting part, and then kind of opens up into a whole lore about previous popes being possessed.
Yeah.
Because that ultimately that's what the devil wants.
Yeah, the movie gets to a point where it tells you that as of 75, Friar Francis, I believe his name was, Friar John, we'll call him. He was possessed by the demon, and we find out who the demon is and what the demon is, and this is the king of hell, Asmodeus. And we find out that he basically has been working in the shadows as of 1475 until the death of the friar, changing what God's word was, what God's love is, and doing things that are atrocious, like the Spanish Inquisition, in the name of God.
Boom, boom, boom.
Now, there's a part of me that says this movie simply wants to try to walk back certain things because they realize they were wrong. And then there's parts of me that says, man, that's some interesting history.
Yeah, it's cinematically intriguing, but True Blood did it already.
Who?
True Blood, where they find out that the vampires were the ones that were in charge of the Inquisition. They had infiltrated the Roman Church. Yeah.
Right, I remember that.
Yep.
Yeah, but this is different because now what we're talking about is not vampires, which is, a lower form of demon. We're talking about the king of hell taking over, the second in command to the actual pope. So this isn't just somebody low level out there just taking over a region and doing what they're doing. We're talking about dictating God's word to the people and to the masses and changing the direction of an entire religious population, which is probably one of the largest religions in the world. And at the time, I think it was only which one was bigger, Islam or Catholicism at the time?
Oh, I don't know.
I'm actually not sure. Yeah,
me neither. But you see the implications of that, and then for it to be the Spanish Inquisition, one of the bloodiest periods in their history, to say that the Pope was being possessed by the devil to do these things is it's pretty big. Because that gives it some kind of a historical accuracy to the movie, as well as a little something to think about.
Yeah, some nuanced topics to dive in on.
There you go. That's exactly the word I was looking for, nuance.
Yeah.
Because I found that to be the most fascinating part of it, because I have issues with Catholicism, but that's another conversation. And it kind of just reinforced some of those thoughts that I had, and some, not to say that I always thought that they were possessed by demons and whatnot, but it just kind of gives you that little something extra just to think about. I'll just say it like that. Back to the movie.
No, yeah, for sure. I think we've covered a lot of the bases on this movie. I'm trying to think of what have we not covered, because I agree, Mike, that the lore is really where, like, when you get to that part of the movie and you start diving in, like you said. Something we skipped over. The Vatican has a vast library of information that was given to the Pope and to Father Amorth, and we see it's all redacted. The only thing it says is your sins will come for you.
Right.
So the lore to me was very interesting because they kept kind of dragging it out, like not really giving you too much, giving you a little bit, but not even really what they gave you before. And by the time you get all of it, it's time for, as the movie does, for them to kind of get that climax moment and put everything together. Sometimes you can get information too fast or get all of it at one time, and it's like, okay, yeah, you guys are rushing now. I didn't feel that way on the information. I did feel that way with the actual ending, but I didn't feel that way with the information. So,
because they get to a point where you feel like, okay, we got to wrap this movie up. It's getting too long.
Yeah, exactly. So after they find out who they're dealing with or what they're dealing with, Father Amorth and Father Esquibile, I forget his name. Esquivel?
Yeah.
I think his name.
I think that was
who also lost their ear to Henry. They've geared up and they're ready to go to war because all of the possessions have started. The house is attacking. Henry is, now not just Henry, but Henry and his sister are possessed.
Fully possessed.
Excuse me?
Talking in unison.
Yeah, talking in unison. They are legion. They are a hive mind at this point. And that gets pretty dangerous because that shows you that the demon is getting stronger. And as it gets stronger, it's going to take control, and eventually it'll be able to kill Henry just for the fact that Henry's body is not strong enough to house such a powerful entity any longer. At a certain point during this process, they're going through their fight and everything gets worse. And Father Amorth decides he is going to take in Asmodeus, even though they know his name. They have done all the fighting, but none of the work they've put in have quite put him down. Asmodeus is strong as ever, and all he needs once in a while is a breather to get them up off his back, because, he that man. Or D-man.
Mm-hmm.
He got the juice.
Yeah, the blood is the juice.
Yeah.
But once he gets into Father Amorth, and Father Amorth has already absolved himself and forgiven himself for all of his sins, which is a big part of this movie, not just begging for forgiveness from the Lord, but forgiving yourself of your own sins that you may be able to, do right, that you may be able to be saved and absolved. But as long as you're feeling guilty and feeling bad at yourself, then yeah, you still leave yourself open to the demonic and terrible things that can happen. Father Amorth decides that he is going to let Asmodeus inside of him. And immediately I'm thinking, okay, either he's given up or he has a plan. But clearly this plan was not talked about.
No. I thought I think he kind of gave up and then it just kind of worked out.
Fair enough.
I don't think that he had a plan other than let me take this possession from this little boy before this little boy dies. I don't think he worked past that part. Because I think he kind of just accepted the fact that he needed to take the demon out of the little boy because the little boy couldn't take it.
Right.
To save the little boy. I don't think there was a plan after that. I think they just got lucky.
Yeah, I could see that. I could definitely see that because, again, nothing is discussed, and at no point do you think to yourself that Father Amorth is going to not make it to the end of this movie, even after he takes in Asmodeus.
Right.
So yeah, I totally get that. So yeah, he's taking him in. He goes back down to the tomb because that's where he feels he'll be able to fight Asmodeus off, which to me didn't make sense. You get closer to hell when he gets stronger. And this is around a point where I start noticing just a lot of little things. Again, I'm not going to mention them all, but I'll mention a few, like how fast and easy it is to fight off a demon when beforehand you have this moment where it's like, oh, well, he's just a little kid, so everybody's stronger than him, everybody's smarter than him. But that's not the case. At any point in this movie, he simply keeps outsmarting everybody. And Father Amorth doesn't realize, I don't think, at any point that that's the power of this demon. This demon is smart enough and strong enough to where it's just going to keep outwitting you until it can't anymore, which is essentially what happens.
Well, I mean, it is the king of hell. The demons are about deception. They're not about being weak. And their
That's
strength
a
is
fair
in
point. Look, I actually had to process that. Like, okay, I see where you're coming from.
Get a little closer to your mic, Mike. So
Sorry about that.
that way. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm like, I can see where you're coming from with that. I absolutely can.
Yeah.
And
their strength is in their deception.
right.
And the stronger their deception is, the stronger they appear to be.
Well, and that's the purpose of the opening credit quote is when we jeer at the devil as if he doesn't exist is when he is the happiest.
Because you're not afraid of something you don't believe in.
Right. So at this point, you have Father Escabile. I really forget his name right now. But you have the other father. What he's now doing is he's come to save Father Amorth from the grips of Asmodeus because he believes that he is still inside there. He is not just dead all of a sudden, especially, but that makes sense because all this time you've seen that Henry was still in there, right?
Mm-hmm.
So they start praying together and they fight him off. And the most disappointing part of this movie to me. So what you're telling me is Asmodeus, the gatekeeper of hell, basically one step below Satan, the Satan to Satan, basically, right?
Mm-hmm.
You telling me that it's only gonna take 2 priests to take him out?
Yes.
Not like 8 or 6.
No. Because I believe that if we were talking about the disciples of God, all it would take is the one. They can cast out demons.
That's a fair point.
But
I don't know if that stand up in a court of law.
Well, let me clarify. It's only so many apostles, and ain't none of them alive, and ain't none of them been alive since Jesus was walking the earth, and just shortly after that.
I don't know.
You know what was shortly after Jesus walking the earth?
Go ahead and hit us with it.
Movie Gladiator.
I knew it was coming.
Movie Gladiator. Man.
I knew it was coming.
How did that? So they beat the demon with the power of prayer.
Yeah, the power of prayer beats the demon. Father Escabile becomes really adept at Latin, even though his Spanish was supposed to suffice. And then they go back to the mystery machine or the TVA side of the Vatican.
Did you say the mystery machine?
Yes, I did. It's their turn now to take on the mantle of exorcists for the Vatican together and go to all of the different 199 sites where they have not already killed the demon that was cast down as an angel and buried into the ground.
The 200 cast out angels who become the earth, who need to be defeated, who are on par with the level of Asmodeus, I guess. I don't know. It's not actually all that clear on what they're dealing with those 199 sites. But it sets up a part two. And who
Yeah,
doesn't love a good sequel?
Yeah.
definitely sets it up for part two.
I'll entertain a part two. I won't lie. I will definitely entertain a part two.
Well, something I thought was interesting in part two, the father who was giving him a hard time, who was giving Amorth a hard time, he decided to take sabbatical in Guam, and we did see the scene of him kind of freaking out because something was talking to him in his head, which we assume was Asmodeus. And what I realized is he was the only one on that panel that was corrupt. Everybody else was not. So they had it had to take him out, and it couldn't leave him alive because he was the last one, the last
Well,
host that it had.
well, actually, I would have thought that the demon itself would have wanted him to stay there because he could be controlled. However, I think his actions in front of the Pope and his disdain for Amorth was too apparent, and they sent him away.
Fair enough.
I think
'Cause he
they
definitely
actually,
did
I
not
think the
like
Pope
Amorth.
actually sent him away. Right.
Right. Yeah, that's fair enough. We don't. All we know is the family goes back to America. We don't see them anymore. Father Amorth and Father Escobil are offered a job after they sit and talk with the Pope, and that job is to again eradicate the 199 tombs that are left on the earth. Find the buried angels in the mouths of hell, the places where God is not wanted. Yeah, they could be anywhere, even Kansas.
Mm.
And yeah, that's pretty much the movie. Any final thoughts, guys?
I believe that.
What? That's the end of the movie?
No, I believe that that's one of the places.
Oh, Kansas.
all them cornfields, absolutely.
Mm.
Ain't that where Dorothy got swept up?
Yep.
Yeah.
Sure did.
Silly
All
as
right.
heck. But yes, indeed.
And
So,
on that note,
yeah, I have nothing to add to that. My final thoughts on this movie. I guess I'll do my final thoughts and ratings right now.
Mm-hmm.
My final thoughts. I did enjoy this movie. It wasn't too confusing. It wasn't all over the place. It was pretty straight to the point and straight with the information. The parts of this movie that would make you, I guess, cringe a little bit or second guess things is depending on what you know about theology, as well as um, just trying to keep up with the amount of information that's thrown at you. Like even at the very end, you get uh, uh, the haunting spirit that comes out of the ground or out of the water, and it looks like the Mother Mary, so it makes him break down. But you see like the pentagrams and stuff all over the wall.
Mhm.
Looks like hieroglyphs. It's kind of it's a little bit much. But other than that, I really enjoyed this movie, and hey, it might get a third watch from me. I would give
I already watched
this
it twice.
not same. But I would give this a 6.5. For sure, give this a 6.5, no question.
Right on.
Cool. Mike.
Um, honestly, I'll straight to the point. I really enjoyed it. Some of the themes I liked. Some of the I like some of the cinematography. All that background stuff was pretty cool. Like when they went on into the tomb itself, even down into the well, some of the basement stuff that was pretty awesome to see. I really enjoyed those plot twists with the Vatican and uh, the device of the Pope being possessed by the devil during the Spanish Inquisition. I really enjoyed all that. Those were my favorite parts anyway. I gave it about a 7, to be fair.
Mm-hmm.
I gave it a 7. I really enjoyed the movie. I'm looking forward to a sequel just to see if they can expand on what they've done so far, and if anything actually came of it, would be interesting to find out too. Like if any of that is actual truth as far as the Vatican history. Not that they'd ever admit to it, but it would be nice to get kind of some more details on that. So 7 point.
All right. Sounds good. Yeah, I thought this was a good movie too. It was fun. It's a fun exorcism movie. It's decent enough scary movie. It's not like crazy scary. But I had fun with it, so I'm going to give it a 6. I enjoyed this one. Yeah.
Excellent. What does that bring us up to, Keelan?
6.5.
Okay.
Didn't realize I was on
Guess
mute.
not.
Sorry there. It's like, yeah, that gives us
Or is it
a
me?
19.5 or a 6.5. But no, definitely they brung us a right one. We liked it. Russell Crowe did his thing. Russell Brand could have made a cameo, but he didn't. And
Oh man.
yeah, everything about this was kind of above board. There's not much to drag on about. But with that being said, I mean, shoot, it looks like we would all do a sequel. So let's get that done, y'all. And the Pope's Exorcist too. Pope's Exorcist and his little buddy on the road again. I don't know what they call it. I will watch it either way. But
My mic just did something weird.
it didn't run away, right?
No, it just like booted me from my microphone. I think I might have done the same thing to Mike.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Check your audio, my lord. But with that being the case, we were pretty much gonna wrap it on up over here because we have it all done. I mean, again, this is one of those straightforward movies. I would love to even talk about it more, but the details that we didn't mention were pretty much not worth mentioning. Little things like people exploding from crosses being put on their forehead. Like, that was really cool, but how much more of that can I say other than the statement itself,
And I keep cutting out, so I apologize if I go quiet or get confused.
But yeah, so it's like we can't talk too much about some of the effects because they were all really good effects, and we just be talking about, man, it was really cool how they set that girl on fire. What are we talking about? So with our ratings, again, that gives us a 6.5 unanimously. And this, of course, is that time for those of you who are used to the channel and who have tuned into the screen time. Of course, this is the time to look at your screen and find out what we have coming up for you. If this is your first time with us, or maybe it's not your first time and you just didn't stick around this long, take a look at your screen. We have an entire cacophony of shows that are lined up for you from Tuesday all the way through Sunday. We'll give you Monday off because everybody gets a case of the Mondays, and nobody likes to hear about a case of the Mondays. And if I'm being honest, if we did a Monday show, you'd hear about a case of the Mondays. So Tuesday, we start you up. Wednesday, we keep you going. Thursdays, well, hey, you're going to get some good stuff there too. Friday, Saturday, Sunday, you're just going to keep rolling through your weekend. Come right back around to Monday. I hope you have a new playlist. Check us out. We'll be here for you for the Screen Time Continuum. My name is Keelan.
I'm Nick.
And I'm Mike.
All we ask is that you like, share, subscribe, and come right back around. This has been our review of the Pope's Exorcist. Shake them demons up off you. Think you'll enjoy what you see over here.
Pop your collar and shake them like dice.